If a major disaster was foretold, would you find yourself prepared? In our modern world, we often find ourselves relying on the conveniences of daily life. Groceries are just a short drive away, clean water at the turn of a tap, heat at the flick of a switch. But what happens when those conveniences are stripped away? What if a disaster strikes and those grocery store shelves are bare, the water supply is contaminated, and the power grid fails? History shows us that this is not just a hypothetical scenario. Consider the rush on grocery stores during the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic, or the aftermath of a devastating hurricane where basic supplies become as valuable as gold. In these moments of crisis, it becomes clear that the systems we depend on are often more fragile than we realize. In such situations, self-reliance becomes not just an admirable trait, but a matter of survival. The ability to take care of oneself and one's family in a crisis is empowering. It can mean the difference between being a victim of circumstances and being a survivor. And let's not forget the potential downfall of relying on traditional supply chains in times of crisis. When disaster strikes, those supply chains can be disrupted or even completely broken. Suddenly, that grocery store that was just a short drive away is no longer a reliable source of food. The tap that used to provide clean water is now just a pipe, and that switch that used to provide heat is now just a piece of plastic on the wall. But there's a silver lining to this rather grim picture. By being prepared, by having a plan and the necessary supplies, you can weather the storm. You can stand strong in the face of adversity and come out the other side stronger and more resilient. Before we delve into the list of essential items you should consider stocking up on, let's remember one thing. Preparedness is not about fear. It's about empowerment. It's about taking control of your own destiny and ensuring that no matter what life throws at you, you're ready to face it head on. Kicking off our list, we have 5 items that could make a significant difference in a disaster situation. First up, flares and smoke flares. These items are not only for the movies, but they are also real-life essentials. Flares can be used to signal for help, especially at night when visibility is low. Smoke flares, on the other hand, can create a large visible signal during daylight hours. Both are compact, easy to use, and can be seen from miles away. Next, we have lighters. Fire is a fundamental survival tool. It provides warmth, cooks food, purifies water, and can also serve as a source of light. A reliable lighter, preferably wind and waterproof, should be an essential part of your disaster preparedness kit. Now let's talk about maps. In an era where we're all so reliant on GPS and smartphones, it's easy to forget the importance of a good old-fashioned paper map. If power sources are out and your electronic devices are dead, a physical map could be your best bet to navigate unfamiliar terrain or find the quickest route to safety. Fourth on our list is Superglue. It might seem like an odd choice, but Superglue is incredibly versatile. It can be used to repair broken tools, seal small cuts or wounds, and even fix a leaky water container. This small item can prove to be a lifesaver in a pinch. Finally, we have the whistle. A whistle's shrill sound can carry over long distances, making it an effective way to signal for help. It can be heard over loud noises such as wind or rain, and it doesn't require any battery or power source to work. These first 5 items are about survival and getting help when needed. Let's move on to the next set. Continuing our journey towards preparedness, let's delve into the next set of essential items. Starting with Ziploc bags, simple yet versatile. These waterproof, sealable bags are excellent for storing food, keeping important documents dry, and even carrying water in a pinch. They can also separate wet items from dry ones in your backpack, and if you've ever been camping, you know how valuable that can be. Next is the fire extinguisher. Fire is a common occurrence in disaster scenarios, be it from a gas leak or a fallen power line. A fire extinguisher can be a lifesaver in such situations. It's essential to have one in your home and your vehicle. Just remember, it should be easily accessible and not buried deep in your closet. Moving on, we have the hand crank radio. In an era of smartphones and Wi-Fi, we often forget that traditional means of communication can be more reliable during a disaster. A hand crank radio doesn't require electricity or batteries and can keep you updated about the situation outside, even when all else fails. Then we have non-perishable food. When supply chains break down, having a stockpile of canned goods, dried fruits, and other non-perishable foods can keep you and your family nourished. Just be mindful of the expiration dates and rotate your stock periodically. Lastly, we have the humble wrench. This tool is indispensable for turning off utilities like gas and water, preventing potential leaks and damage. It's also handy for repairing broken fixtures and assembling makeshift shelters. These items are about food preservation, fire safety, communication, and basic utilities. They're not as glamorous as some other survival gear, but they're just as important, if not more so. Remember, preparation is about practicality, not showing off. Now, let's move on to the last set of essentials. As we round out our list, these last few items are just as essential as the first. Caulk, hammer nails, and plywood may not be the first things that come to mind when you think of disaster preparedness, but don't underestimate their importance. In the face of a storm or hurricane, you'll want these tools on hand to secure your home. Caulk can help seal off windows and doors from potential water damage, and plywood can be used to board up windows. Hammer nails are, of course, a must for any kind of quick repair or fortification. Next, consider seeds for gardening and solar chargers. In a prolonged disaster scenario, you may need to grow your own food. Seeds are compact, easy to store, and can provide a source of fresh produce when grocery stores are not an option. And let's not forget about power. When the grid goes down, a solar charger can keep your essential devices running. Communication devices, flashlights, and other small electronics can be powered up, keeping you connected and informed. The thought of a Mylar blanket might make you think of marathons, not emergencies. But these lightweight, compact blankets are designed to retain heat and can be a lifesaver in a cold weather crisis. They're also waterproof and windproof, providing an extra layer of protection against the elements. Finally, toilet paper. It's a basic necessity we often take for granted, but as we saw during the pandemic, it's one of the first things to disappear from store shelves. Having a stockpile in your home can prevent a lot of discomfort and stress. These items are about home protection, self-sufficiency, and maintaining a semblance of normalcy in difficult times. Preparation is about more than just surviving a disaster. It's about preserving our way of life as best we can, even when circumstances are far from ideal. Don't wait until it's too late. Start assembling your emergency kit today. Let's take a moment to recap the key points from our discussion. We began by emphasizing the importance of disaster preparedness, and how essential it is to not get caught off guard. The need to be ready for any eventuality is not just a matter of convenience, but a matter of survival. We then delved into the list of 15 essential items to stock up on. These are not just random items, but carefully selected necessities that could make the difference between life and death in a disaster scenario. We talked about flares and smoke flares for signaling and visibility, lighters for starting fires and providing warmth, and maps for navigation when digital means fail. Superglue came up as an unconventional but highly useful item for quick repairs and even medical emergencies. We discussed the importance of having a whistle to signal for help, and the utility of Ziploc bags for waterproof storage. We highlighted the necessity of a fire extinguisher for safety, and a hand crank radio for receiving critical updates when power is out. We mentioned non-perishable food as a lifeline when supply chains are disrupted, and a wrench as a versatile tool for various tasks. Caulk, hammer nails, and plywood were brought up for their usefulness in making emergency repairs. We underscored the value of having seeds for gardening as a long-term food solution, and solar chargers for sustaining power needs. Mylar blankets were emphasized for their life-saving warmth, and last but not least, we mentioned the humble roll of toilet paper, a basic comfort that becomes a luxury in times of crisis. Each of these items serves a unique purpose, and together they form a comprehensive survival kit that can help you weather any storm. Remember, preparedness is not about fear, but about empowerment. Stay safe, stay prepared, and thank you for tuning in.